Okay, so as I know, you don't read much books like science fiction. You only concentrate on your IT books. Yes, that's true.
Science fiction, yeah, I have some books about it.
But what about some kind of romance or mythology books?
I think I just bought, it was Dracula or...
Dracula. It's more like a horror. I think it's classical horror.
Okay,
So it was the last book you read.
okay. No, it was last book I bought.
You didn't read it? Okay. I've read a book. This one while we were on vacation in Valencia. You remember it?
Okay,
I was reading it while we were on the beach.
it's a strange one.
It's a strange one. And I was commenting it a lot. You remember,
Okay,
like,
yes,
"This is
yes.
shit, I don't like it," or it's so poorly written. Maybe it's because it was in Ukrainian. I don't know how it is actually in English because sometimes translation can worsen the plot of the books. So this book is called A Touch of Darkness. Do you know much about Greek gods and mythology?
Just a little bit.
Do you know any gods from there? Zeus?
I'm scared to pronounce their names correctly.
Actually, me too.
So I just gotta shut up.
Yeah, so it's most popular one. It's Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. So it's like three main god brothers who own the Greek mythology world. They're main bastards there. Is it true? Because Zeus is a lot, cheating man, and Poseidon is a pussy. Okay, and but we don't need to remember that much. It's mostly about Hades. Hades is the king of underworld. Yes, he is the king of death. He reaps souls, stuff like that. So he has his own kingdom. He was the, you know, most unlucky brothers because one got heaven, one got sea, oceans, and he just got grave, big grave underworld. So, do you know maybe a myth about his wife? Do you know he has a wife?
No,
Are you kidding? Have you heard about
I
Demeter?
heard only about the mentors.
Okay, so Demeter is goddess of nature in Greek mythology, and she has a daughter. It's Persephone. It's very connected. This Greek legend is connected how seasons change through the year. Like when half a year Persephone is in outer world, everything is blooming, green and sunny, it's warm, and the other half of year she is living in underworld with Hades, who is her husband, and everything is gloomy. It's winter basically, okay? So it's all very connected. Oh my god! And in this book, it's mostly about Persephone and Hades' relationships. So it's a kind of spoiler from the beginning that we know they're gonna end up together anyway. Because it's a romance book, it's type of girls romance mythological books. Many girls like this. And it was I won't say it's my first romance book because I've read some. I think does Twilight count? I think yes.
Of course, you read something.
Yeah, and but I just saw it in a bookstore and just bought two because I liked the idea and I'm kind of into this
And you
mythological.
thought this will be good.
Yes, I thought it would be good. Well, it's not that bad actually, but we will get to it later, okay? It's not that bad.
Spoiler!
Yes. As I said, main characters here is Persephone and Hades and their love story. So first I want to tell you is it's about that world in which the book is set is really deep. It has stories that there was a great war between gods, and now they have a new Greece, a new Athens. Athens is a city in Greece. And now gods live among the mortal people, and they all have some kind of business here. So Hades owns a club, and many of other gods also own some kind of rich people places where I don't go. So And Persephone here, she is hiding her goddess's personality. Why? It's because her mother Demeter, she didn't want her to communicate with other gods in any way, especially with Hades. Why? We know later, okay? So she has hidden her full life, and only when she aged to 18, she somehow allowed her to enroll to university and to live in a dormitory with her new best friend, sidekick. That's true. And now, at the beginning of the book, she's just starting her new career as a journalist in a journalist department somewhere. Okay. What I said about sidekicks, that's very funny. You know how in old shows and old movies, old books, all characters, main characters, very special main characters, have super normal best friend who is just a human who has no any power. So it's Lexa. It's Lexa. It's Persephone's best friend and her roommate in her dormitory in university. She's simple and plain. She's just studying or doing something. We don't know much about her anyway. And also very funny about Persephone's character, it's she is a holy virgin. She hasn't been with a man in any kind, nor kisses, nor hugs, anything. So it's also canon. I know you don't know much about these girly girls books, but it's a canon. So she's so unusual. She's so
Yeah,
special.
she's starting with virginity.
Yes, she's so special in this way because she's an abusive mother. Also, I forgot to mention, her magic powers are useless. She can't do anything except like her mother. She brings life to nature. Yes.
Virginity power.
Yes. Actually, yes. You just spoiled.
Oh, sorry.
So, like Demeter, she can create life with anything basically. Like she has a seed, it's a flower, blooming flower. And Persephone, anything she touches is dying instantly. So she's useless. Okay. Also, what's something also common between all these type of books? It's a magical appearance somehow. You remember, like Edward Cullen had a shiny skin. It's because he's a vampire. Yes.
Okay.
And here, all gods have horns. Some have wings. Yes, like different type of horns, maybe like
Okay. Yeah.
deers or something. Demeter has horns like deer. But of course,
It was visible for other humans?
no, that's the point. That's
okay.
what I'm gonna tell. That she can conceal it with magic. She can use some magic to hide it. So she's so unusual, but also very usual, very common girl.
Okay.
So she can hide it with magic. It's also very common between all this type of books, okay? So it's magical appearance, it can be hidden with magic. Sounds stupid, but that's true. Also glowing eyes and very voluminous hair, okay? So what we know about Hades? He is older than Persephone, at least 4,000 years old. Also very common in Romance books. He is powerful. He is old enough to be her grandfather. She's 18, about 18, okay? So it's actually, we don't know, like, which is a normal age to, to have something.
Fuck.
Like, it's very different, and I don't know how to judge here because she's 18, he's a few thousand years old, okay?
Okay.
It's okay or not okay? We don't know yet. We
It's
can.
okay to be 100 years old?
He's a god, okay?
He or she.
She's also a goddess.
But how old is she?
18.
18. Oh, okay, fine.
She's a newborn, literally. And he was there from the beginning of their world, okay? Like almost from the beginning. And was just born. And nobody knew she existed. Nobody knew because it was a secret. Deep secret, okay? Also, he is abnormally tall, about 2 meters, and handsome as fuck. He must be. All men in romance books, handsome and tall and powerful and old. He wears suits and all black because he's Hades. Okay, it's image. And as I said, he owns his own kingdom. Also, very important here. So let's talk about plot. Finally, here, what happens in the book. From the beginning of the book, Persephone already somehow interested in Hades. Maybe it's because her mother forbidden her to talk with him, to have any communications with him, but she's already interested. From the beginning also, we know that she is just starting her career, as I said before. She and her best friend Lexa are going to visit his club. Okay, it's the first thing her mother has forbidden for her, okay? They're going to visit his club because they're celebrating Persephone's new job. They go there and meet new people who are not important, but one man they meet there, his name is Adonis. He's important, okay? So remember him. They meet them there, here, там, в клубе. And they just have fun. Alexa has a crush on Adonis instantly because he's handsome, tanned, and okay, it's a beautiful Greek man. So she's sitting in a club and she feels like somebody is watching her from the balcony. She looked up and she saw even more handsome man. It was Hades. We don't know it yet, okay? She doesn't know it yet. We know it already. And she already felt that heat of future sex here. So she's already turned on. So he approached her and offered to play cards. I think poker, something like that. But she wanted to ask him some questions, and he wanted to ask her questions too. So they play like with a deal. If she wants, she can ask a question. If he wants, okay. And I need to mention she doesn't know how to play cards. She doesn't know how to play poker.
So she was without answers.
Yeah. And she knew that playing cards with Hades is a bad idea because many people in this world they play cards with him or make a deal with him and they lose, and he just takes their souls. So she knew it's a bad idea, but she did it anyway. I think it's temptation to a handsome man. I don't know. So of course she lost because she didn't know how to play cards. When she returned home, she noticed a mark on her hand that was made by Hades. It's like a symbol that they have a deal now. And she tries to hide it with some bracelet. It doesn't matter. It's gonna stay for a while. She comes back to the club again. Turns out now they have a contract. She must somehow create a life in underworld. We remember she's useless with her magic power. She's trapped. Okay? She has only 6 months to do it. Otherwise, she's gonna stay there forever. He knows that she is a goddess somehow, but he feels it. Okay? He's a powerful god. She can feel it. But he doesn't know yet that she's a daughter of Demeter. Or maybe he knows. I don't remember, okay? It doesn't matter. So she agrees. Now it's maybe like 16 pages into the book. They are already kissing. But it's kind of a trick because this way he gives her permission to enter his club. And that's important. She will be visiting a lot. So it's his way to give permission to enter the club. And here we see that he has a girl near him. It's another love interest, almost. It's a nymph. Nymph, you know what nymph is?
I think so.
Okay, so her name is Minty, and she is Hades' assistant.
Sex assistant.
You're nasty. Assistant.
Okay.
Assistant of the villain, I think. So she already hates Persephone from the first sight, and she's jealous, but it doesn't matter. So while in university, next day, I think after they have a contract, Demeter, it's her mother, if you remember, comes unannounced to talk to her daughter about her visit to the club. She is watching her, okay? Has spies all over her, so she's constantly in control of her mother anyway. She threatens her to take her away from human world, but she refuses. She knew that she visited a club. They argued, of course. They will be arguing a lot here. And also Persephone will be arguing a lot with Hades too. Arguing and sex is the most part of this book, okay? Persephone and Lexa went out to lunch and they meet Adonis there. You remember Adonis from first visit to the club?
Yeah.
Turns out he works in the same journalistic agency as Persephone. So he is her co-worker. And he is pushing her to write an article about him. Like, you must write about him. He is a bad god. He is constantly making bad deals with mortals. They die because of him, all this shit. And she agrees, but he wants to see this article first. She constantly makes bad choices, you know? So now she's somehow must work in a garden, in underworld to create life. There, write an article and also graduate from university. A lot of work, actually. Persephone and Adonis go to his club again to take an interview. This interview didn't end well. They had an argument again, as I said before. Sex and argument, okay? Hades trying to make her uncomfortable because he's already talking about her feelings about him. They known each other like for 3 days, okay? Maybe 2. It was loud argument. So they leave a club, Adonis without half of his memory. Like, Hades has power to erase it. And but Adonis, I don't know how, but he noticed that there are noisy interactions, and he said that maybe they have a story behind them. She denies it. No story. No, okay. Later the day, she returns to the club because she wants to visit the underworld, but Hades wasn't there, so she somehow find a way to get into it. And of course, she got in some troubles. She almost drowned in Styx River. You know what is Styx River?
No.
Styx River in underworld, where the souls of the dead are swimming.
Okay. Got it.
Percy Jackson.
Yep.
Yes, okay. I was a fan of Percy Jackson. That's why I know a little bit of Greek mythology. So she almost drowned, but she was saved by Hermes. Hades finally showed up and reported them to his bedroom. Quick, fast, very quick, because they know each other for 3 days now.
Virginity power.
Yeah. So, because she almost drowned, she fell asleep. And he watched her sleeping.
That's cute.
That's creepy. Okay? That's creepy. After he
He's
shot...
sleeping, by the way?
Huh?
He's sleeping, by the
No,
way?
he's watching.
He's watching. Okay.
He's watching. So he showed her workplace, like some garden where she needs to create a life here. Because all the life things she sees in the underworld are fake. It's an illusion created by Hades, and she needs to fix it somehow. Again, he kisses her. This time it's to give permission to enter the underworld. So now she's powerful. She can enter the club and underworld. Okay, that's enough for her. Also, Hades asked Persephone never bring anybody to underworld, especially Adonis. But who listens? Okay, who listens to this man? This girl never accepts anybody's orders. Leave her alone. She works in garden, writes an article, and one day she meets a new goddess in underworld. Her name is Hecate. Hecata. I don't know much about her. She's a goddess of magic. She lives in many places, but she enjoys underworld the most. Okay, so she has small little cottage here, built by Hades, and she lives there. She invites Persephone to a fair organized by souls who live in this underworld. Okay, so it's not like they die and goodbye, farewell. They have their own village in underworld, and they do the same things they did in real world, but in underworld, and they are more happy here even. Okay, so they actually I can say love, but respect Hades, I think, and so they organize a fair sometimes.
Like retire house.
Hmm?
Retire house.
Yes, okay. So she comes there with Hecate, and you know these people, they easily accept her as their new queen. We don't have any contact here yet between Hades and Persephone, except some few kisses, okay? But she's already their queen.
Because she's virgin.
Yes. Too much sexual contact. So
It's not me, just your book.
18 plus, okay? It's for adults. Adults only. Are you old enough?
No. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. So, after this fair, she meets Charon. You know who Charon is? Charon.
Не задавай такие вопросы.
Charon is some kind of mythical. He's not a god, but he lives also in underworld, and he, let's say, he invites new souls who come from living world to underworld, and he is allowing them to get through the Styx River.
Security guy.
A security guy. That's true. I may make some mistakes because I am not that sure in my knowledge about Greek mythology, but it's just to understand how things work. So Charon comes to tell that a name named Orpheus wants to exchange his soul to the soul of his dead wife Eurydice. It's also a myth. Orpheus, you maybe heard that name, Orpheus. Орфея и Евридика. So it's like was a myth that Hades accepted, and he went to underworld to get to Eurydice's soul, but he was warned by Hades that he cannot turn back to see the souls, otherwise he's gonna stay in underworld forever. He did stay in underworld. It doesn't matter because in book Hades refuses to exchange his soul. And Persephone is angry about it. She thinks that he's the bad god now. Yeah, oh my god, you're refusing people to do stupid things. You're such a bad guy. You're doing only bad things. No, okay. She uses this argument again as the material for her new article now. So she is doing she's writing a bad article about her not so lover. So next day she goes to a club again. She visits a lot. She overhears a conversation between Hades and a woman who comes to ask for help. So all other gods refuse to help her. Only Hades is her last hope. Okay. Her daughter is very sick. She can be healed, blah 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 blah. Doesn't matter. He helps her. That surprises Persephone. She's confused even more than she was before. Okay, confused. One day, Lexa, it's her best friend, as we remember, wakes her up because she saw a news. In the news, it was Persephone's article, which she did not publish. It's very popular now. It's on the headlines. Everybody is talking about Hades and how he is bad or not so bad. We don't know because the article is some like he is refusing for help, but he accepts other helps, and so it's messed up. Turns out it's Adonis, it was Adonis who published, edited, and he stole her article. So we remember that Lexa is kind of dating this man now, okay? So bad choices. So it's a great success anyway. This article is a great success. And her boss, Persephone's boss, is asking her to write even more. Well, she agrees. She becomes a popular journalist, so like many people recognize her at the street. And they ask her questions about Hades, and she is jealous, okay? She already marked him as her personal god. Like, nobody can ask questions. He's mine. I don't love him. I don't like him. He's mine. Don't ask me about him. So later, Persephone has another argument with her mother. She again threatens her to leave the human world because she wrote an article about Hades. It's forbidden to talk about Hades. She does it again. She writes another article. She goes to the club again. All this shit. So, no rules. Rebellious. But before that, she visits Aphrodite's club. You know who Aphrodite is. It's like the most popular. It's a goddess of beauty, goddess of femininity, goddess of woman, I think.
Of virginity. I'm sorry.
Shut up, блядь. Ну shut up. Aphrodite's club. They visit Aphrodite's club to celebrate something. We don't know. It doesn't matter. They celebrate a lot. They're students, okay? Graduating students. They drink. I didn't drink much during my graduation because I was fucked with my diploma. So I had a relationship at the moment, okay? So they meet their Adonis and their friends. There is actually one important friend, somehow important. She is an oracle. Her name is Sylvia. So we will hear from her later. So they meet all there. They have fun, drink cocktails, dance, but after one single drink, Persephone is done. We suspect that this drink was drugged. Okay, so she's вертолетики, all this stuff, and helicopter, and she lost Lexa on the dance floor. So here comes Adonis. He wants to make his first step and talk with her. Okay, but actually, he forcefully kissed her. He dragged her to the wall, grabbed her hair, and trying to push his tongue in her mouth, you know. But here comes Hades. Of course, he saves our poor virgin. She fell asleep in his car, woke up in his bed, in the underworld, naked. She's still virgin at this point. They have an argument again of Persephone not listening to his orders, how Adonis is bad, and about her articles, of course, because it's somehow damaging his reputation. I have a reputation? No. Okay, he has a reputation. He is okay God. He is controversial God because he's connected with the dead, all this stuff, but he's a good God. He can make bad things, like he can kill people, he rips their souls, he makes bad deals, but he's okay God. He's not killing people just, you know, he... So after their argument, here comes intimate interaction. But not for long, almost comes, let's say, because Hades somehow thought that...
He was old, it's...
He somehow thought that Persephone wants him, but she doesn't actually like him as a person. So, silly man, okay. So, later Persephone talks to Hecate. Now, listen carefully, that's so stupid. As it's like my worst part, my least favorite part of the book, okay? She talks to Hecate, and she asks her what Persephone's power is. Killing?
Virginity.
Virginity power. Killing alive things. So she can create magic, we remember about it. So Hecate makes a know that hardening is not only thing that can create life. She can also give birth to a baby. Okay, very fast. um, moving on. Persephone's boss wants her to go to an event called Olympian Gala. It's like an annual event where all the gods gather together, choose one god who is gonna be the main topic of this event, and this chosen god will choose where to donate money. She is confused, but she will think about it and she will go there. And of course, this year's topic is барабанная дробь. It's Hades, of course, so it's all connected, okay? It was not stupid. Yes, it was stupid. So, this year's topic is Hades. She agrees to think about it. Then, unexpectedly, Minty comes to visit Persephone at work. She wants to talk to her about how she is not a good match for him, and she needs to stay away from him. She offers a deal. If Persephone goes to a cleft in mountains, she can find what I can translate as a source of rebirth. Maybe it's a lake of rebirth, or maybe it's a river of rebirth. I didn't understand actually, so let's call it rebirthing, okay? Water of rebirth. And she will be released from her contract then. When Persephone goes to Underworld again, she visits a celebration. New celebration. Souls, organize, all these things. They honor Hades as their king and hope that soon that will be a queen. Persephone is confused, but she agrees. She confused a lot, okay? It's a woman's life. We're confused a lot in this life. So she plays with children, with Hades' dogs. Actually, how was his name? Cerberus? And then she gets a gift from these soul people in the underworld. She gets a crown, I think golden crown for the queen of the underworld. She's not a queen yet. Of course, she gets dirty after playing in mud. Wink, wink. So Hecate brings her to Hades' personal swimming pool. She's taking a bath there, naked, and of course, here comes Hades, who also wants to join her, also naked. Why not? Maybe now? Yes, now we have a full intimate interaction that lasts about 8 pages. 8 pages, okay? Of course, he asked her, it's a canon event, if he was her first. Okay, she's a holy virgin. Yes. So he's pleased. But their pleasure doesn't last much longer because they are interrupted by Minty, who comes to say something very important. Obviously, yes. Very important things about dinner. Like she invites Hades to join their dinner. Like, girl. So Persephone is very jealous and angry, and she said that their interaction was a mistake. She says that she doesn't want him, but she does not know yet that one of Hades' power is to feel when somebody lies. So he says, and I quote, "That's gonna be a shame." I'm blushing. Maybe you believe it was a mistake, but you want me. I was inside you, I tasted you, and you won't run away from this truth.
Okay.
So she leaves him in a pool, okay? She's embarrassed. It was a mistake, blah, 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 and she leaves him. Not for long, because next day is a day of Olympian Gala event. So Lexa, you remember Lexa, has already changed her love interest from Adonis, because he's a nasty man who is trying to forcefully kiss her best friend, to a Jason. He is not important, but he's IT tech. Like you.
That's me.
It's your friend. You cheated on me? Okay. So don't remember him much. He will be useful like for a few pages. She and Persephone arrive to an event and they watch the gods' arrival. They see Ares, Poseidon, Hermes, Persephone's mother Demeter, Apollo, Aphrodite, Zeus, and Hera. Hades arrived last, as handsome as he could possibly be, with a bun here, like long black hair and a bun. Everybody at the event noticed the special attention that Persephone received from gods. Like she was dancing with how he's called Hermes. They were dancing and he kissed her in the cheek. They were just like friends, okay? After he saved her from Styx River, they're somehow friends. And how Hades was watching her, okay? It's like gaze, you know this gaze. Hades and Minty present a new their new charity project. It's called Alcyone, Rehab, actually, Rehab for mortals. And of course, he mentioned that article and its author and how she inspired him to think about his actions and his to think,
To sing.
think. And so Persephone meets Sylvia. Remember about Sylvia? I told you that she is an oracle, and she says one thing: your auras are connected. It was like that from your first meeting. Your race, you and Hades. It's a destiny woven with Moiras. You know who Moiras are? It's three witches in Greek mythology who has threads, and they create fate and destiny, like
Okay.
woes in them. And they can cut it, then the person dies, and so it's they like control everything. Even maybe more important than gods because they actually decide something, okay, in this life. Then Aphrodite comes to talk with Persephone. It's still on an event. She comes to talk about how she is a muse to Hades, but well, now Persephone is confident enough to refuse to talk with the goddess. Like, still, almost nobody know at this point that she's the goddess. Like, it's only Hades know about it. Also Hecate and Hermes. Nobody else knows about it, okay? But she doesn't want to talk to her. She leaves, but she was stopped by Hades. And they dance. It's still in the event, so everybody sees them now, okay? They dance, and she talks about how he should dance with Minty. She's jealous. And Persephone asks if he slept with Minty, so sex assistant, yes? He offers answers, but only if they play card again. So they teleport, like from this place, teleport to another, to his cabinet in the club, and they play poker. If somebody loses, one close off, so Persephone is gonna be naked in 3 seconds, okay? So when Hades actually lost, he can lose. Right? I'm in shock. She asks him about Minty again, and now he admits that he actually slept with her, but only once. That's a shame, okay? He also must have been a virgin. We don't know exactly how old he is, but from 1,000 to million, okay? So he also should have stayed a virgin for her, okay? It's destiny anyway. Here comes this intimate scene that lasts 8 pages. 8 pages of poor written sex. I didn't like this scene.
I think I should say something.
It was not pleasant. I don't know how to describe it any other way, okay? I didn't like that much because let's forget about it. Like it's I understand that this scenes is like that's why this genre is called romance, because you know, very detailed description of intimate actions here. I'm not a big fan of it, okay? So it could have been somehow smoothed with just magical words. I don't know. I'm not a writer myself yet, so I can't understand. I can't tell you how it should have been actually. Maybe it's the right choice. I can judge. So next morning she feels a change. You know what change? A change in her body.
Okay.
Do we think now that she's pregnant? Like, we know that children are not made that fast, okay? But no, forget about it. She feels magic. Like, she lost her virginity and feels magic! Блядь! Wow! So after that they spent pleasant morning together, but he refuses to spend a day with him because she needs to work on a new article about him, of course, about this new article about Hades. So she's home and works, and Alexa comes to tell how everybody around now knew that Persephone is Hades' lover. It's a big secret. Was. Persephone goes to her office to work and have an argument. No. And has an argument with Adonis because he kissed her forcefully, as we remember. And it was that loud that her boss overhears it, and Adonis is fired.
Can I take your cup, please? Thank you.
This is my personal favorite part. After that, in university campus, Persephone meets a stranger girl who asks if Persephone is really Hades' lover. Of course she's not. No. So that's why her next turn is in campus. She meets Hades and they kiss. Okay, it's like right after this conversation with this girl. He came to say goodbye as he has to leave the city for a while to meet his god brothers somewhere else. Anyway, she continues to work on her article in her garden, and she goes to Underworld again. And meet Hecate. From this goddess, we hear again that about life in Persephone, yes? And not life as the magic, but life as a child. But forget about it. No mention about children in this book. After that, no mention. I have a second
Just
part.
the status.
I don't know what is Persephone's status after end of the book, actually.
Okay.
I don't know. She is not a queen. That's a spoiler. We'll... This audio, video, podcast is full of spoilers, okay? So it doesn't matter if I say it. But at the end of the book, they are not married. Maybe in the second book. I haven't started it yet, okay? I have it, but I haven't started it yet. So her status is unemployed. No, she works. So forget about children. Also, Persephone and Hecate organized a ball which Hades will participate in himself for first time. He has never visited any of the balls before in the underworld. So Hecate is here, Hermes is here too, everybody's dancing, having fun, and thinks that Persephone is their queen, obviously. So Hecate tells Persephone that she's obviously in love with Hades. She denies it. Блядь. Silly girl. It's silly to hear, because on the next page, we see how Hades asks her to worship her. And she agrees instantly. Like, it's written on the cover. Let me worship you. He asks. So, during a trip in a limo, Persephone invites Hades to have a dinner in her and Lexa's place. So he agrees, and so does Lexa, but and she invites her new boyfriend. It seems too common to invite gods to have dinner with them, so they're completely calm about it, okay? Like, Lexa only mentions that they need to clean up a little bit, so my girl. So they bake and have a nice little dinner together, watch a movie, and after saying goodnight, Persephone and Hades go to her room to do some nasty stuff. It was a while since we've seen Demeter to come unannounced. Yes, it's her third time to come unannounced. Okay, it's her mother. Any secrets from mother? No. So she catches them in bed together. No need to say that she is mad about it, okay? She forbids her to speak, to communicate in any way with Hades.
To fuck with him.
Yeah, especially that. So they argue so loud that Lexa checks in on them and sees Persephone without her magic appearance. So she sees her horns, her extremely glowing eyes, and now Persephone needs to tell her everything about how she is a goddess of spring with useless powers, how Demeter is her mother, and again, Lexa is the best sidekick ever. She easily accepts this news, and they just hug. So they BFFs, best friends forever. Yes. A few weeks later, Persephone is still worried about the situation and her graduation from university, work stuff. But as you know, Persephone attracts gods in any place she goes. So Aphrodite comes to her work to talk with her, but she comes undercover. So she tells her an interesting story about her and Hades' deal. It seems like Persephone was the main beat here, okay? They played cards, and when he lost, she made him to swear that Hades will make somebody to fall in love with him. And he had 6 months. So turns out the same day Persephone appeared on the horizon. And just an hour later after the deal, so it's very convenient. So Persephone is pissed off, you know? She went to Underworld to finish their deal. Like, she's mad with him. And Persephone needs to find something of rebirth, water of rebirth. Cerberus, Hades' dog, brings her to the mountains, to Tartarus. You know which is Tartarus? It's not a sauce.
Oh, okay.
It's a place in Underworld, like hell pit.
Hell pit.
Yes. It's a place where souls rot. She finds a cave and a small pond, which seems to be this something of rebirth. And she hears a voice. She hears Tantalus, who is trapped in this cave because of his sins. In Greek mythology, Tantalus was a king who somehow made gods to eat his son. Carnivores. They ate his son, literally. So he was sent to Underworld and to Tartarus for his sins. He is not able to drink any water or to eat any food. It's like his curse. But Persephone is silly, dumb as she is. She gives him a fruit, and this man uses this as an opportunity to drown her. Of course, Hades comes here to save her, and she immediately confronts him about Aphrodite's deal. After aggressive but very short intimate interaction, like after a fight. Okay, we know it's the best solution to end fights.
Fuck.
After aggressive but very short intimate interaction, he tells her more details. I think it's a good deal, like, you know, you fuck, you tell the details. It's more convenient than playing cards because she loses anyway. So Persephone is furious that Hades used her and tells him that he has won its deal.
Mm-hmm.
She is furious enough that her magic shows itself again. She somehow won their contract and grown new life in the underworld. Some wizard roses and thorns. It's pathetic, okay? Pathetic. And I personally thought that she would have won this deal if she gave birth at the place, like in 2 seconds. Here's a baby, I won. Go away. Bye bye. So her mark is gone. She's free from their deal because she has made. It's hard to say it's life, okay? It's death plans. So and she, let's say, broke up with Hades. Not at the end of the story, okay? Still, she needs to solve problem Adonis somehow. Блять, I forgot to tell about it. I forgot to mention that Adonis is threatening Persephone. He has some intimate photos of her and Hades from the underworld party, like when they were having fun at the balcony. And he is threatening to publish these photos. And he wants Persephone to give him back his job. And she had only 3 weeks to do it. I completely forgot about it. I'm sorry. It was so unimportant. If we compare it with sex part, it is so unimportant. So here comes in handy Alexa's new boyfriend, who is IT tech, okay? So he hacked Adonis's apostrophe S, Adonis's phone and laptop, and deletes those ugly photos. I'd like to see them, okay? It's a pity he deleted them. I want the fan art of these photos. I want to see it. So Adonis comes to their meeting and not alone, but with Minty. It was Minty who made these photos and sent them to Adonis. She knew about this Hades and Aphrodite deal and was mad that actually Hades fell into Persephone too. Persephone is using her new magic powers to turn Minty into a literal mint bush. Mint like in cocktails, like a little leaf of mint. Okay, minty mint, that's funny, okay? She didn't forget about Adonis too and transformed him into something. It's a rough revenge. I somehow lost the way. How? But Persephone went to talk with her mother, to Demeter, and tell her everything she thinks about her. Turns out she imprisoned her own daughter just to hide her magic, and I don't know how Persephone got to know it. I kinda missed it part of the book. I don't know. So Demeter also knew that Persephone is supposed to be the queen of the underworld. It was told by Moirs. It was woven, it's destiny, like Sylvia told us before. Persephone is supposed to be the queen of the underworld and Hades' wife. Blah blah blah, Moirs, you get it. So she tried to trap her again, but Persephone is now not that powerless anymore, so she releases herself. After that, she graduated. She misses Lexa and she misses Hades too, but one night when they decide to go into a new god-owned club, I think it was Apollo's club, it doesn't matter. Such a great idea actually, because only good stuff happens in these clubs. Only good. So she meets Hecate there. Seems everybody in the underworld missed her too. Especially Hades. He was listening to their conversation. And when Persephone finally confessed her love to him, we know that from very beginning, he approached her, told her 3 magical words, and they happily kissed. End of story. Which is very dry end of story. Like, they kiss in the club. Are they together? Aren't they together? What happens there? It's not finished in the book, I think.
But we have a second one.
Huh?
But we have a second one.
We have a second one. But if we take this one as one piece, we don't get to know that much. Okay? I understand, like a trilogy are made like this, okay? But I don't know, I just like when the one book of the series is completely finished, like with the logical ending. No, I think we can suppose that they end up together. Like I said, in the very beginning. In the myth they end up together, in the book they end up together. But I would like to see more, maybe their wedding, or how they live in the underworld. It's gonna be a second book, I suppose. Okay. In also we've got a little bit of Hades' point of view of on their relationship. In the beginning, we have first chapter, and at the end of the book we have the same chapter, part of it, but from Hades' POV. So he is in love from very first look at her. And I quote what he tells. Make her yours. Something wild has awakened within him and was begging to do it. A desire to take her to underworld was as strong as magic. Okay, their destiny was woven by Moiras. What does it tell us? I don't know, maybe it relies a lot on Greek mythology, and when it was all made up, it didn't have to make such sense, just like myths and stuff like that. But I think books might be more detailed and interesting in this way, but it's completely relies on author's view, you know. Do you have any questions about this book?
How many virgin words we have here?
Virgin count. For real. Any questions? Your opinion?
My opinion is it's a little bit not
Don't
like not completely full with some, I don't know, really reasonable situation. This will make you like a little bit worried about something.
I agree.
You're just sitting in the one way and you're just looking how they're fucking, and that's all.
And how they argue a lot.
Yes, so
Yes, it's like I think we could have had more
action.
And more godly stuff happen. Like that he is God. It's like he's a CEO, you know. It doesn't change a lot. So he's the God. Блять, take her to some godly event, like take her to see Poseidon. Like everybody needs to see how powerful she is now. But he really just owns his company, and that's all. Like he is literally a CEO of Underworld. So in this part, I want to. That's what makes my podcast video stuff something. I don't know how to call it yet. Okay, a special is because I'm an artist. I thought it would be a good idea to create an art piece for every book I finish. So here is something I created for A Touch of Darkness, and I was inspired by Persephone herself, but not Persephone how she is described in a book, but let's say her appearance is taken from the book. Somehow she's blonde, but how I imagine her and her swords, her magic. So she is. I like to draw with, how we say it, symmetry. I enjoy drawing this symmetry. I think it makes work very fast, and I love doing things fast. Like I can work on the one project for very long. So I think this on the art took me like maybe 5 hours, from 4 to 5 hours to finish. So Persephone is the main piece here. She has horns, like described in the book, long blonde hair and green eyes, magical green eyes. She is dressed in something inspired from traditional Greek clothing, but it's not very traditional, let's say, but Greek clothing. In colors, I associate with Persephone. It's mostly dark purple, reddish colors. As a background, I use a sun or maybe moon, source of light, and swords. Swords, it's like her magic, which she's using at the end of the book. It's her swords. She has a thorn crown because she's a queen of the underworld. Not crown like golden crown it was in the book, but thorn crown. I think it's makes sense. And here I use my standard rendering. I just work with a lot of with line art. I really love line art. I think I can draw without line art. I don't know how other artists draw without line art. For me, it's the most important thing, and I like to use an inky brush. It gives life here. So now I'm also rendering hair, and you see how I jump from one part to other because I get bored easily, and I often do one part something, a little bit of there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and about halfway in the drawing, I thought that I could make a little animation from this art piece, and I decided to cut it somehow. It's like it was a decision made halfway from the drawing, so it's ugly cut it. Okay, I could have done better, but I didn't think about it that way. Like I would animate it. No, I hate animation. I do it very often recently. So all the pieces are separated here. Her hands, her dress, her hair, her hat, and eyes are separated here. And after that, after I finished the drawing, I animated in Adobe After Effects. Now I'm finishing it. I also like to what I do with line art. As I said, I prefer it very detailed and very alive, I think, with ink brush. And also I create a duplicate layer of it, and I take a little bit of blur here, so it makes the art piece a little bit moody, I think, kinda not grumpy, but it gives some grunge here, I think so. And I use this technique a lot. Also with hair, I like to have a opaque layer of hair, and then I make a gradient, like it might be lighter here but darker at the roots. I decided to add some color at the roots. Also highlights, of course, very important. And also I separate hair from main part and the part that we can see that's behind our neck and head, which is visible from this angle here, and I dark it even more. I darker it even more. I think it adds some texturizing, I think, and depth in my drawings, which is very pleasant to me because I can say my art style is semi-realistic. I take something from comics and something from semi-realistic stuff and inky stuff, and all. I combine it, so it somehow creates my art style. I don't think I have an art style that's defined, but it's really more defined than it was before. Maybe like a year ago it wasn't that defined. Now it's better, of course. Practice makes perfect. So when I finished it, I exported it to Adobe After Effects and used all techniques I learned in college. Puppet animation. And it was not actually very difficult, I can say. It's all I remember from college. Like it was centuries ago. No, it was only 2 years ago. And also I used some effects here, or like radiant rays from the sun from behind her head. It looks, it shines through her horns. She moves her head, tilts her head, she moves her eyes, and I use some magic to create with her hands, like she is really growing her roots. I think this magic looks ridiculous, okay? But I tried. I really didn't think I going to animate it. So that's how I created this art piece here. I don't know what else to say. Goodbye, good night, good days, good mornings. Tschüss.